if things. It's the overlay. It's the, okay. What is going on, Louis? Totally. How we doing, Louis? So what are we making? Let's see what are we making today. I really like a time machine. Oh, I would love a time machine too. But maybe we'll get into that. I'm gonna get into a couple things. I appreciate it. How you doing, Louis? What up? Love you, man. No, Louis, this is gonna be the ramblings of a madman. That's what this is. Madman, like we all are. I guess what I like to get into. How do I talk to you? Can you hear me? No, I can see your chat. Um, you know what? I can figure out a way that I could probably call you and we can talk on this. That'd be cool. Um, just give me 1 minute and then I'll definitely invite you over. I'd definitely like to hear your um, perspective on things, I guess, as I go along. Just give me like a couple of minutes and then I'll give you a call. But hang around. Hang around. Hang around, brother. All right. All right. To continue on here. Um, I brought up, I think in a couple streams ago. I know everybody on Facebook, Louie and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I can. Can you hear me? If you can hear me good, I appreciate that. That helps me out, man. If it gets a little messed up, give me a shout. Like I said, um, um, why you? Let me see what's going on Facebook. If you're trying to hit me up on Facebook, it's probably not coming through just because I'm streaming it out to a couple different places. Like I said, just um, give me like a second. I'll call you on the phone or something like that. But to get back into kind of what I was saying. Couple streams ago, and again, I'll recap everybody on Facebook and stuff like that. I'll recap you too, Louis, and pretty interesting thing we're gonna get into today. Um, but a couple streams ago, I had mentioned I had brought up this little pamphlet that I had found. So there, Louis, right there. If you can see that, those on Facebook. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll see if I can grab my other camera to do like close-up shots and stuff like that. Actually, let me do that right now. See what I'm doing at the same time. 1 second, let me set that up. Richie started talking about an interesting thing. Oh, did he really? Oh man, I can't wait to talk to Richie. Um, I can't wait to talk to Richie. Hope everything went well with the, like you said, the christening of the kiddos, the grand kiddos, the new Caffarelli babies. I'm so proud of. I'm so happy. That's another thing too. We'll get into too here. Is that and other things? Oh, let's plug in. If I was a USB, which one would I be? Would be a USB. Try this one. This works. Sometimes I've set up so many things I've forgotten what I've set up. That was another pretty interesting thing when I put this freaking computer back together. You guys have heard me talk about that a couple times. If you guys ever have a hard time hearing me, some of this, give me a shout out on the commentes. All right, let me see where this other camera is. Do I have that camera set up on here? I thought I did. With the rat. Oh, camera. There we go. That's the one right there. What the hell is that? Oh, that's that one. I might have never added this camera, which is fine. I can add it right now. It is there. That's the mobile camera. Where the hell is it on, man? Give me 1 second, guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Yeah, we'll throw some dad jokes at you guys. Why, you guys? Give me a second. Technical difficulty. Well, and some music too for you guys. Oh. Oh, I forgot that place. They're on my end. Other camera set up real quick, guys. enjoy the dad jokes for the moment. Should I have this set up before? Pure stuff like that. That's not working. Whatever. That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It doesn't look like it's gonna work. Okay, that's not. Alright. That did not work. So. Get rid of that. And let me stop that for now. Alright. And I'll figure out the extent later. But so, what we're gonna get into is a couple things. But like I said, I started off with this pamphlet a couple streams ago, and it got me to thinking a lot of things. On a lot of things, and I've been meditating on a lot of things lately, and you know how things are, just how life goes. So, um, the truth of everything and what that actually means. I'm gonna share something with you guys, and what I have the word, the document up for, so that when I do read from something or something like that, you guys can have it up there and you guys can look for it yourselves later on. Where do I want to start? this is it. No, that's not it. So what is it? Chronicles. Just bear with me, guys. Oh, look at this thing. That didn't get into that. Okay, that's what it is. That's perfectly where I wanted to start. Exactly. I need pronunciation help on that though. Inca. It see. Man, it's gonna be a tough one. Pronounce it. All right, so I'm gonna instead of pronounce it that because I suck at pronunciation, I'm going to this right here. So this is we're gonna start off right here, which is a good, I guess, starting point for where I wanted to discuss things. And that is how it's pronounced. Is like, is it Ezekiel? It's gonna be pronounced Ezekias. Ekazekias, something like that. Ekazekias. Ekazekias 1.12322. We're gonna just read that real quick. Um, well, we'll read, but this is where I'm reading from, so you guys have an understanding of where I'm starting with this. And the other book, um, so this was the pamphlet, and again, I have ADD, but just bear with me. It all makes sense in the end. So So the aforementioned pamphlet that I'm going to be referring to is as follows. It is the minutes. Instruction. This is another one that is going to be hard for me to pronounce it, but it is the Alta Vendetta. So again, that's what I had gotten into the other day. Alta Vendetta. We're going to put that in parentheses here. That and underline. Because we feel like this is important. Okay. All right. So the pamphlet that I'm going to be referring to is the permanent instruction of the Alta Vedanta, and I'll get into some of that, and we'll read from that today because I promised I was going to. But I also want to do some other readings too as well. And again, everything I'll read from, guys. And reference. This Bible that I'm reading is in NLT translation. So, is that. So when it comes to translations or anything like that of the sort, when it comes to Bible, fucking kick rocks and eat shit because most interpretations are right around the same for the most part. And I don't read old English or nothing like that, so I didn't want to get into that fucking argument. So I'm just gonna say that right now. So okay, going from there, and this is the title of the chapter. So we'll call this chapter 1. Alright. And I'll call this references. Okay. Let's give this document a quick save. There we go. And we'll call this chapter 1. Alright, okay, covers that. I don't know if you guys can hear that. All of the references and stuff like that, I'll try to add it to the streams later. Just water. Alright. So, like I said, I'm just want to start here real quick. This Just look question. All right. So, um, my question was, what is, I'll put it right there. All right. So my question was, what is, I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep watching this. E, it. I looked up the pronunciation. Um, Ilki Zetez, Ilkitas, Elkitas. That's probably it. Elkitas, Elkitas. What is Elkitas? I'm pronounce. If I'm saying it wrong, please somebody help me the fuck out here. Um, what is Elkitas? The Book of Elkitas. So Elkitas is one of the wisdom books of the Old Testament, along with Proverbs and Job. Job's another one we'll get into and we'll read to as well, because that gives us insight. That's going to help us give insight into what the truth is. But I think this is a good place to start with, um, because the book, as it says here, it's often credited to King Solomon, though it doesn't mention his name directly. Instead, the writer calls himself the teacher or the preacher. The teacher or the preacher, not the prophet, um, not anything like that, but the teacher, the preacher. Um, and we can always go and explore deeper into the history of the Bible and the other books and where King Solomon comes from and stuff like that. And maybe we'll touch on the tip of that iceberg and stuff like that. But King Solomon is in the lineage of David, where Jesus is from. Jesus is the lineage of David. Um, so is King Solomon. And here we'll get into some. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, question is who was Solomon? So Solomon was the third king of Israel, the son of King David in Bathsheba. Um, and if you've read the Bible before, um, or if you could remember, we can also just talk again. We're just going to keep touching icebergs and on top of icebergs, the complexity of everything. But just to give ourselves a baseline to start off on, we'll just cover some fundamental things real quick to build on here. So King Solomon again was the third king of Israel, the son of King David and Bathsheba. Bathsheba and King David had that affair, where King Solomon, as he was king, still fighting wars and a young man, um, he had you know he had um, was looking upon the women, as they were bathing, and his gaze came upon Bathsheba, and for what it says, she was a very beautiful woman, and King Solomon lusted after her and had an affair with her, and from that affair, obviously she was married to another man, and King David kind of not kind of, but he did set that man up to be killed in a battle, and you know, very shitty fucking move, bro. And he, after the husband was killed, he took Bathsheba as one of his wives and shit, and one of the kids came from that was Solomon. And Solomon, Solomon's gift from God was wisdom. Solomon, um, Solomon was again one of the great. He's in the lineage of Jesus, one of the greats. Again, what you will, the onion um, that you that you'll peel back, and all of these men, all of these men, um, and that what I'm exploring here, and it is the onion of all of us that we all have, is the earthly sinful um, strife that we're fighting here on earth, and the motives, the motives to be, I say, the motives to be, um, are the ones that are blinding us from the truth, from the only one truth. Because there can only be one truth. And I'm going to get into that very simply. And this is the. Ooh, ooh, loud noises. This is the truth of everything. So, I hope that was a good introduction for those that are here. Alright. So, that kind of. Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, so these are just some things we're gonna explore too. And here, I will. You know what? I'm just gonna copy all of this. Man, it's freaking wild, dude. These are just good points to build on. Yeah. That way we don't have to go back and forth, and I can kind of keep this as a running document. Okay. I'll highlight that too, real quick. All right, give that a quick save. All right, cool. Guess that's where we're at with everything. Oh, oopsies. Shit. All right. So again, the pronunciation thing is going to kick my ass this whole time, but I'm gonna try to do my best, guys. I'm going to try and do with my bestest with what I can. Got so go back up, and we're going to now read. So we've kind of gotten to where we're at. All right. So why I am gonna read from this. So escalation. He less. this fucking pronunciation, I swear. Um, maybe I can have the computer. Something else for me. I'm gonna do that. No, I don't want to do that. Ella Elestius stands out in the Bible because it's raw and honest. It admits how confusing and frustrating life can really feel. Um, that's why it speaks powerful to people today. It captures the human struggle and the search for meaning and the desire for something internal. And again, this is what I want to explore, and this is what I want to get into, because I think more than ever, and I think more than ever for everybody, this is very important. Um, because we all have to remember that um, the real truth to everything, the real meaning to it all, is that nothing here matters. Nothing truly, really, the fuck matters. Honestly, here on this earthly realm is what I'm talking about. Um, all your bullshit, all your bullshit, everything that's ever happened to you, everything that's going to happen to you, everything you're afraid of happening to you, is all here. It's all for this earthly plane of bullshit. And I'm not trying to say that in a disheartening, disheartening way, or a way that I'm trying to say to disconnect from this world, or, you know, what I guess I'm trying, and this is what I want to explore with you guys, is you have to understand. You have to start to, and I don't want to be ever condescending when I say, because I have been, trust me, been accused of being very condescending my whole fucking life. Sorry, I don't know, but I'm going to try not to be. I always just try to speak from the heart. And I think that is a key opponent, a key meaning here is speaking from the heart, and what that means to speak from the heart, what it means to have a heart. And I'm not saying from the physical sense, because the physical sense of the heart, the physical sense of your mind, the physical sense of injury, the physical sense of anything that you exist in this earthly vessel that you live in, is all shit. I hate to break it to you. It all came from shit. It will come back to shit. Not to say what this is shit. You can call it dust. Came from dust. We'll go back to dust. Came from rocks. We'll go back to rocks. You know, maybe it all came from real slimy rocks. Maybe that's how we all started here. That really doesn't matter. No matter no matter how important that might feel for all of us, the answers to everything, the answers to where we started from, the answers to dinosaurs, answers to aliens. We got some cool underwater aliens now, I guess, now that we got to compete with. I guess what I will bring a full circle back with this is, no matter what this world has to offer you, or has to take away from you, or demands of you, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. Because someday you're going to, whatever this world is, your connection to this world, it's going to cease. It wasn't there a moment, and then it was. You were and are, and hopefully am alive right now in this constant present moment. But then you won't be. but than you are right now. And that's always been a question I've always been bothered with my entire life. I've always, for those who know me, um, and I guess this is something to explore too, is the uncomfortability that some of us feel here on Earth. Call it anxiety, call it, what do they call it now? Social anxiety, or fucking, I mean, shit now. Everybody's all fucking tistic now. The whole generation of millenniums are all fucking retarded from who knows what they were fucking feeding our mothers in the fucking 70s and 80s and the 90s to get us to this fucking point we're all fucking tapped out. But it doesn't remove us, though, from the truth of it all. Even with the political landscape, and oh boy, is that always a fiery topic, especially these days. At the end of the fucking day, it doesn't matter. And again, that's not to say what happens here doesn't matter. Because that is the great mystery. That is the great, that is the great experience that you are going to have and am having here right now in the constant present moment. And if you're here enjoying it with me, thank you very much. But nonetheless, you are here in this moment, nonetheless. And for those who are in a moment right now that is not very nice, my heart goes out to you. I do love you. And you are loved. And that's the other thing too. Again. But to explore the meaning of everything, the truth of everything, is when we say the truth of everything, we're talking about the reality constraint that we're currently in. Because that's the only thing that we can right now. That's the only thing we can make whatever truths up as we are here. So the physical world we can touch, for those who, have hands or feet to touch the physical world, if you don't have any hands or feet, hopefully you got a tongue you can maybe touch around in. But nonetheless, you have a physical world that you can interact with. You got air, you got water, you got the counter, the chair you sit on, the toilet you take a poop in, whatever have you. You have this physical world that you can interact with. This physical world comes with a lot of things. This physical world comes with tastes, smells. For those who can hear, it has a lot of things to hear. For those who can see, it's got a lot of things to see. It's got so much to see. For those who can smell, there's so many things to smell. Sometimes those smells are so umami. I think that's a taste too. Again, this physical world has a lot of things that we can make truths out of. At least we can try to make truths out of them. We attempt to do it through science, through math. We attempt to do it through debate. We attempt always to find truths. What's the truth? Damn it. We're always on the news. What's the fucking truth, Jack? We'll even shoot each other for the truth. What's the fucking truth? And we'll put a fucking bullet in your fucking head. What is the truth? My question is why the fuck are we looking for it? That's the truth. That's the God honest truth. Why the fuck are you looking for it? It's right in front of you, motherfucker. Open your eyes. But Nonetheless, we have this physical vessel that, yes, it helps us connect to something, because we've all failed. We've all failed. It's okay though. We'll get into salvation though. So if nothing matters, what matters? If nothing matters, what matters? That's a tricky one. That's a tricky question. Because to every single one of us, something else matters. You know, whether it be money, whether that be injury, disability, no girlfriend, no boyfriend, no kids, bad things happen. This world will give you a lot of things to matter. It's made up of matter. Can't you see the riddles? This world of matter, it wants to continue to matter. It doesn't want to cease to matter. Because if it did, it would cease to exist. That's the paradox. So, if nothing matters, but yet we exist in matter, the only way for matter to exist is to be, is to matter, is to need something to observe it. For if it wasn't observed, if it didn't matter, matter would legitly cease. The fabric of what we know would cease. The atoms would separate, it would all fall apart. If nothing was there to observe it, there's too much random. There's too much random in the molecular universe for matter to honestly exist without the observer. So again, I repeat, if nothing matters, if nothing matters here, if nothing matters here that you do here, what does it matter? Okay, let's ponder on that for a moment, please. get into S. Um, Man, I suck at fucking. I really do. And it's going to. It keeps fucking with me. I'll just call it Elestia, Elestis, or Escaliscus, something like that. They're words of the teacher, King David's son. These are the words of King David's son, who ruled in Jerusalem. And this is his words. This is his pronunciation. It's quoted by him here. Ready? Everything is meaningless, says the teacher. Completely meaningless. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come and generations go, and the earth never changes. The sun rises and the sun sets, then hurries around to rise again. Okay. The wind blows south and then north. Round and around it goes, blowing in circles. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea's never full. Sea's never full, never fills up. All the ice keeps melting. Nothing changes. Let's keep going. All right. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full. Then the water returns again to the river to flow out again to the sea. Everything is so wearisome beyond description. Wearisome. Wearisome. He uses the word wearisome. Does not the squirrel tire about to get that nut? That's me saying that. Does sit back and look outside. Watch the bird. Watch the squirrel. Watch the water. Watch the grass. Just watch it. No matter how much we see, we're never satisfied. No matter how much we wear, we are not content. Okay, this is I want you guys to understand this is going before we had fucking cell phones with 24,000 hours of just endlessness of things to see. And yet we'll never be content. I will never be content. No. I will never be content. I need to see more. I need more. No matter how much we wear, we are not content. History mere repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say, "Here is something new. Here! I did it. Damn it, I did it." Here is something new. But actually, it's old. Nothing is ever truly new. We don't remember what happened in the past. Let me repeat that again. We don't remember what happened in the past. And in future generations, no one will remember what we are doing now. No one will remember this bullshit time we're in right now. This time will pass and go, just like all other times have. It just keeps going. Keeps repeating itself. The fucking river fills up. The fucking river empties. The ocean is constant. Okay. I, the teacher, was king of Israel and lived in Jerusalem. I devoted myself to teach for understanding and to explore by wisdom everything being done under heaven. I soon discovered that God has dealt a tragic existence to the human race. I observed everything going on under the sun, and really, it's all meaningless. Like chasing the wind. Like chasing the wind. What is wrong cannot be made right. What is missing cannot be recovered. I said to myself, look, I am wiser than any king who ruled in Jerusalem before me. I have greater wisdom and knowledge than any of them. So I set out to learn everything, from wisdom to madness, folly. But I've learned firsthand that pursuing all this is like chasing the wind. Chasing the wind. Like a hamster in a wheel. Just going through the motions. To go through the motions. To go through the motions. To go through the motions. To just do things. To do it. Why are we doing it? Why do we wake up just to break up? Why? The greater my wisdom, the greater my grief. To increase knowledge, only increased sorrow. I said to myself, come on, let's try pleasure. Let's look for some good things in life. But I found that this too was meaningless. So I said laughter is silly. What good does it do to seek pleasure? After much thought, I decided to cheer myself up with wine. And while still there seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness this way. Let me repeat that. I clutched at foolishness. Let me repeat that again. I decided to cheer myself with wine. And while still seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness. That's what he said. In this way, I tried to experience the only happiness most people found during their brief life in this world. I also try to find meaning by building a huge home for myself and by planting many beautiful vineyards. I made a great garden and park, filled them with all kinds of fruit trees. I built reservoirs to collect water to irrigate my many flourishing groves. I bought slaves, both men and women, and others were born in my household. I also had large herds and flocks, more than any other king who had lived in Jerusalem before me. I collected great sums of silver and gold. I hired wonderful singers, both men and women. I had many beautiful concubines, and I had anything a man could ever desire. He had everything of this world. Everything a man could ever wish and dream. Anything a woman can ever wish and dream for in this world. Anything of this world. The wine that he drank. The wine, the beer, the alcohol, the drugs that we take of this world. Everything of this world. So I became greater than all who lived in Jerusalem before me. My wisdom never failed me. Anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. I even found great pleasure in hard work, a reward for my labors. But as I looked at everything I had worked so hard to accomplish, it was all so meaningless, like chasing the wind. There was nothing really worthwhile anywhere. So I decided to compare wisdom with foolishness and madness. For who can do this better than I, the king? I thought wisdom is better than foolishness, just as light is better than darkness. For the wise can see where they are going, but a fool walks in the dark. Okay? For the wise can see where they're going, but a fool walks in the dark. Yet, I saw that the wise and the foolish share the same fate. Both will die. So I said to myself, since I will end up in the same as the fool, what is the value of all my wisdom? This is also meaningless. For the wise and the foolish both die. The wise will not be remembered any longer than the fool. In the days to come, both will be forgotten. So I have came to hate life, because everything done here under the sun is so troubling. Everything is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Isn't that the strife we all face in our lives? And we have all lost the meaning, whatever that meaning was, whatever that meaning meant to you, whatever that is. Your children, your health, your beauty, your fame, your money, anything, everything, and nothing, and nothing. All chasing fucking wind. Why? Why must we all do it? It doesn't matter. So I came to hate life because everything done here under the sun is so troubling. Everything is meaningless, like chasing the wind. I came to hate all the hard work here on earth, for I must leave to another everything I have earned. And who can tell whether my successor, will be as wise or foolish as I am? Yet they will control everything. Everything I have gained by my skill, my hard work under the sun. So meaningless. How meaningless? So I gave up in the despair, questioned the value of all my hard work in this world. Some people work wisely with knowledge and skill. They must leave their fruits of their efforts to someone who hasn't worked for it at all. This too is meaningless and a great tragedy. So what do people get in this life for all their hard work and anxiety? What? What the fuck do I get for this bullshit? This is some bullshit. Their days of labor are filled with pain and grief. Even at night, their minds cannot rest. So much bullshit I gotta fucking do in the morning. What the fuck? This, that. I ain't got no fucking money. My belly hungry. Ain't got shit. All so meaningless. So I decided there is nothing better than enjoying food and drink, and to be filled with satisfaction and work. Then I realized that these pleasures are from the hand of God. For who can eat and drink anything and enjoy any part from him? Let me read that again, because I kind of read that wrong. I'll start there. So this is 24. So I decided there is nothing better than to enjoy food and drink, and to find satisfaction in work. So after all that, let me try to find something. Then I realized all these pleasures are from the hand of God. For who can eat or enjoy anything apart from Him? God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy to those who please Him. But if a sinner becomes wealthy, God takes wealth away and gives it to those who pleases Him. This too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Okay, let me stop back a little bit further. Some people work wisely with knowledge and skill. They must leave the fruits of their efforts to someone who hasn't worked for it. This too is meaningless, a great tragedy. So, why do why do people get this? So what do people get in this life for all their hard work and anxiety? The days of labor are filled with pain and grief. Even at night, their minds cannot rest. It is all so meaningless. This is where I began last time. So I decided there is nothing better than to enjoy food and drink and to find satisfaction in work. So to try to find something in there. And once and again, why does it matter? This is me now. Why does it matter? Then I realize that these pleasures are from the hand of God. For who could eat or enjoy anything apart from Him? God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy to those who please Him. But if a sinner becomes wealthy, God takes the wealth away and gives it to those who please Him. This too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to harvest, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to tear that shit down, and a time to build some motherfucking shit up, a time to cry, and a time to laugh, a time to grieve, and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to turn away, a time to search, and a time to quit searching, a time to keep, and some time you want to throw the fuck away, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be quiet, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What do people really get for all of their hard work? I have seen the burden God has placed on all of us. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted an entirety in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I conclude there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves. What do people really get for all their hard work? I have seen the burden that God has placed on all of us. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I conclude there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves with each other as long as we can. And people should eat and drink, enjoy the fruits of their labor. For all the gifts come from God. And I know that whatever God does is final. Nothing can be added or taken away from it. God's purpose is that people should fear Him. What is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has happened before. Because God makes it the same thing. God makes the same thing happen over and over and over again. Let me repeat that. Because God makes the same thing happen over and over and over again. I have also noticed that under the sun there is evil in the courtroom. Yes, even the courts of law are corrupt. I've said it to myself. I do. In due season, I said to myself, in due season, God will judge everyone, both good and bad, for their deeds. I also thought about the human condition. How God proves to people that they are like animals. For people and animals share the same faith. Both breathe and both must die. So people have no real advantage over the animals. How meaningless. How meaningless. Both go to the same place. They came from dust, and they will return to dust. For who can prove that the human spirit goes up, and the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for people than to be happy in their work. That is our lot in life. No one can bring us back to see what happens after we die. But sit there, and that's what I'll leave you guys to ponder with. Oh, let me grab some more water, guys. Take care of some matter. So dry. Might go ahead. Should probably try to find a better chair. 2 seconds, almost done. All right. Let's continue. So, two. Oh, this might be another good book to bring up too. And I think I'm gonna bring this book up for a reason. I think this, going through this book for the purposes of understanding the truth or the meaning to matter, is to maybe get into this book next. And this might be pretty neat to jump into, but a little out there. But so this book, this is one of the first books I actually bought before I got into learning anything about technology and stuff like that. Whatever. So the book is, but how do it know? But how do it know? The basic principles of computers for everyone. This is written by J. Clark Scott. I believe I've actually had an interaction with this author. He had written a computer, basic fundamental computer brain inside of Excel to show the principalities of how it know. And the reason why, in my, I guess, in my little mad mind, I bring this book up. I bring this to the forefront because of how I feel our current reality is right now with everything. Not to say it all hasn't been done, like we've all read. For those who are experts in history, they would be the first one to say, history is repeating itself. I mean, you hear it on the fucking news every day now. History is repeating itself. Strange, huh? Strange. Always so strange. You know, for us living now, we see this world at an accelerated rate. And I think more than ever, all of us are seeing this world at a way more accelerated rate. But who knows? Who knows? We got aliens under the fucking sea. What do they know? Matters to them. Why haven't they interacted with us? Why do they refuse to talk to us? matters to them that we matter? What matters to them that we matter? How do it know? It's funny that the guy's name's Joe in this. It couldn't be more, I guess, just grabbing at me. Sometimes you just gotta see what the world is trying to say to you, man. Not even the world. Something is trying to say to you. Just listen. In silence. They will talk. Alright. So, introduction. The title of this book is the punchline of an old joke that goes like this. So the joke is this. Joe. Oh, Joe. Joe is a very nice fella that has always been a little slow. Little slow Joe. Little slow Joe. Shut up. He goes into a store where a salesman is standing on a soapbox in front of a group of people. There's a salesman pitching the miracle new invention, the thermo bottle. And he's saying it keeps the food hot and the hot food hot and the cold food cold. So here he is, Joe. Joe the simple slow Joe is just walking through town. I'm Joe. And he comes across a salesman with the thermal bottle. And the salesman, Joe, hey, Joe, this bottle right here, Joe, this freaking bottle. I'll tell you, Joe, this bottle's special, Joe. You want to know why this bottle's special, Joe? I'll tell you why this bottle's special, Joe. It keeps the hot food hot and the cold food cold, Joe. Don't you know, Joe? Joe thinks for a moment, amazed by this new invention that's able to make decisions about which of two different things is supposed to do, depending on what kind of food you put in it. How he can't contain his curiosity. He jumps up and down, waving his hands in the air like he just don't care. Put your hands in the air, wave them around like you just don't care. Joe's geeking. Old Joey. Whew. There's old Joe, old slow Joe, just geeking out. Whoa! Whoa! What the fuck? You telling me this thermos knows? This thermos knows when I put hot food in it to keep that motherfucking hot. And when I put some cold food in it to put that thermos knows to keep that motherfucking food cold. That thermos knows. Finally blurts out his question. Okay, Joe. Finally blurts out his burning question. But how do it know? Oh, Joe. Don't you know how it works, Joe? Joe don't know how it works. How does it work? I'm slow, Joe. Just give me a second. I am the slow Joe that just don't know, 'cause I am the slow Joe. All right. So to get back, what does Joe ask? Joe does how the fuck does that thing know? How does that fucking thermos know to keep that food hot? Keep my food cold. That's Joe's question. Simple, slow Joe. We love Joe. Don't you love Joe? All right. You may or may not have laughed at that joke. But the point is that Joe looked at what this thermos bottle could do and decided that it must be capable of sensing something about its contents, and then performing a heating or cooling operation accordingly. He thought it must contain a heater or a refrigerator. He had no idea of the much simpler principle on which it actually operates, which it is that heat always attempts to move from a hotter area to a cooler area. And all the thermos does it by slowing down this movement. With cold contents, the the outside heat is slowed its way in, and with hot contents, the heat is slowed on the way out. So the simple principle, the simplicity of the thermos, the simplicity of the thermos. Oh, I don't know. I want to break my computer right now. Fuck it. Fuck the police. I'm coming straight out of Compton. See if it works. Okay. It worked. Okay. The simplicity of the thermos. Ooh. Ooh. Let's do that again. Star thermos. Okay, we'll use that one. A little better. So the simplicity of a thermos. So here we are. We have our thermos container. And what is the simple idea of the thermos? That inside of a container is another container. And what it prevents, what the thermos prevents, is from, we'll do hot air from going in, and it prevents when this is a hotter thing. So we'll do that in reverse. So we have our outer shell, and we have a hot contents. And it prevents heat from getting out. So from the simplicity of just something so simple as just insulation, something as simple as just insulation, just something thick. I'm going to put my contents into something thick, a thicker rock. That thick rock will do, sir. Give me that thick rock, and let me put my soup in it on Tuesdays and my ice cream in it on Wednesdays, good sir. And please, let it be what it was. And thus forward, we figured out that if we make a insulated vessel, it will then contain the heat, or it will displace the heat. Nonetheless, a very simple, logical operation that we have discovered is a truth here in our reality is so much more simpler than a very simple man, Joe, would think the world is so much more complex than that. Why is it always the simpleton? Or, let me not say that, because sometimes the simplest heart, or the youngest mind, is always somehow the most intelligent of it all, because it hasn't yet been corrupted with the bullshit of the rest of the world has to offer. But yet, it is something so simple as that. So, again, just some small principles. And we'll continue on here. So, again, with the contents outside heat, it's slowed on its way in. The hot contents is slowed on the way out. The bottle doesn't know to know. The bottle doesn't have to know in order to fulfill this mission. It doesn't heat or cool anything. And eventually, the contents, hot or cold, will both end up at room temperature, regardless of the contents. But Joe's concept of how the bottle worked was far more complicated than the truth. Far more complicated than the truth. Old Joe. So the reason for this book's title is that when it comes to computers, people look at them, see what they can do, and imagine all sorts of things that must be in these machines. Or they imagine all sorts of principles that they must be based on, and therefore what they may be capable of. People may assign human qualities to these machines, and more than a few find themselves in situations where they feel that they are embarrassing themselves, like our joke Joe. The joke Joe. But computers are actually quite easy to understand. Of course, computers have greater number of parts than a thermostat bottle. But each part is extremely simple, and they all operate on a very simple, very easy to understand principle. With the thermos, the principle is that the motion of heat. This is something we can observe in life. Again, with the thermos, the principle is that the motion of heat. This is something we can observe in life. We see ice cubes melting when they are removed from the freezer, and we see the hot meal cooling off on the table when the family is late for the dinner. In the computer, the principle in which it operates has to do with electricity, but that does not mean that it is hard to understand. If you observe the fact that when you turn on a light switch, a bulb lights up, and when you turn off the switch, the light goes dark, then you have observed the principle on which a computer operates. That is about all you need to know about electricity to understand a computer. The simplicity. And again, I'm only getting into this book after just reading what I read. To bring it round circle on, there is only one simple truth. It's very simple, very easy. The only reason why things matter is we make them matter. That's it. It's the only reason. In the great scheme of things, nothing does. Nothing will, ever has. All you can do is enjoy your time here. Find it in your little human brains to love one another and to maybe give thanks to what you are experiencing. For it is for naught. You should make meaning of it. Try your best, and you will succeed. Things will happen. Things have always happened. Things will happen. You will be okay. You are loved. These are just the ramblings of a madman trying to make meaning of meaninglessness. Ness. Well, I'm gonna cut it off there, for it is probably long enough. I have rambled on. For when you stare into the void stares back. Alrighty, y'all. Oh, yeah. Back. It's been real. We'll do this again. So far, it worked. Maybe I do something different, but I need a moment to think of things. So till next time, I love y'all.